By default, elements are set to show overflow. In other words, anything that goes outside the boundary of that element is still visible. That's why the default property is set to visible. The other options let us override that. We'll cover 3 of the additional overflow properties aside from visible: hidden, scroll, and auto. Hidden clips content that overflows. Here's a section with some content inside that's partially outside its boundary. If we select the section and we set overflow to hidden, this content is clipped. Let's switch back to visible, and we can see the elements that overflow outside of the boundary. Back to hidden, we get the idea. That's hidden. Let's do scroll. Here's a div block which has a set height, and right now there's more text inside than will fit inside the boundary of the div block. With the div block selected, we can set the overflow to hidden. Go to preview, just as expected, it's clipped. The overflow is hidden, but we can't get to the text underneath. Back out of preview, and with our div block selected, we can set the overflow to scroll. And if we go back into preview this time, we can now scroll to access the text that was originally clipped off. That's scroll. Finally, let's talk about auto. Depending on your browser or scroll bar settings, setting overflow to scroll can sometimes display a scroll bar, even when it's not necessary, even when there's not enough content to go past the element boundary. Auto will display a scroll bar only if the overflow is clipped. It's a good way to ensure you don't have a useless scroll bar when your content doesn't need it. So, overflow hidden clips off content outside the element's boundary. Overflow scroll lets us scroll through content. On some browsers with some settings, we see a scroll bar. And overflow auto only shows a scroll bar on those browsers with those settings if the overflow is actually clipped.